I am Mo Tuzano, the tabletop bellhop, your cardboard concierge, working with you to make your game nights better. What I'm hoping to do for you tonight is let you know about this surprisingly big box game from Genius Games. This is Genotype, a Mendelian genetics game. Mendelian, that's the right way to pronounce it? Mendelian genetics game. Now, I don't know how well you remember your high school biology class, but if you've heard the term Punnett squares and dominant and recessive genes, that's what this game is about. We are going to be growing some peas. Now, I do have to thank Genius Games for hooking us up with a review copy of this. Genius Games makes educational board games that are actually fun. Like, I hate to bash on a whole genre of games, but it's often that educational games are not the best. Genius Games takes tried and true game mechanics and puts an educational spin on them. This one in particular being some dice mitigation and worker placement. This is a fascinating looking game to see who can do the most research and create the best pea pods in the end, taking into account the various genetic types with, again, dominant and recessive genes. In this case, looking at 4 different traits. This looks like a fascinating game. I have really enjoyed other things by Genius Games. I recommend you check out our Cytosis review when you get a chance, because that was another game by them we really enjoyed, all about recreating a cell, an animal cell, and how things work in the cell. So very cool game. Now we're going to crack open the shrink on Genotype. They said thick. This is just, it's thick box. Thicker than I'd expect. And I got to say, that back, ooh. Oh, let's cut the shrink. All right, here we have my just cut the shrink copy of Genotype, a Mendelian genetics game from Genius Games. So we're going to show off this box here. And I got to say, I dig the plants on the side. I appreciate whenever boxes are designed so that I can store my game this way or the right way. Send hate mail to mo@tabletopbellhop.com. One of the things that stuck out, I love that back. That makes me want to play this game. There is something just appealing about the look of that. That looks like an awesome game I want to play. So let's dig a little deeper. Rulebook on top, same size as the box. At least it's not that big a box. Ooh. And the science, I love it. It's one of the things Genius Games does that I really appreciate. So we're going to flip through this fairly quickly. Nice setup. I like that. Nice, well organized, colorful. Dig it. Overview, working phase. Oh, lots of examples. I like this. I'm very impressed by this. I like how it's showing like the arrows. This is nice. This is a nice rulebook. Single column, nice big font. Getting a little bit of glare. I apologize for that. I'm recording during the day for a change. Upgrades, rule clarification. So we're looking at 12 pages. Not too much, but not too late, right? This isn't a party game. And then solo rules. Always appreciated. Solo rules are such an important part of board gaming nowadays. Uses an automa. There's a hard difficulty. Oh, that's hard for solo. Okay. And a nice summary of the turn. Always nice to see. All right. This is Genius Games. One of the things Genius Games does is they have science-based games based on real scientific methodologies. So what we get is the science behind this game. I was extremely impressed by the way they did this in Cytosis. It looks even better in here. It is talking about genotypes and phenotypes, and I'm sure it'll talk about Punnett squares and the science. Yeah, Punnett squares and nomenclature, right? I remember enough of my biology class. How to do test crosses and inheriting multiple genes. De novo mutations. Wow. Non-Mendelian patterns. All right, looks cool. Like that's you're looking at 12 pages just for some science. A small punch board, coins, timer, and then ways to change your genotypes. These are the 4 traits you'll be looking at in this game. 2-sided, and I gotta say, remarkably thick. Like that is some nice thick cardboard that punched really nice. And you can put it back when you're done. Player board. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's linen finish. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Look at that. Oh, that just feels so nice. This is the player board where you're gonna, add temporary dice spots and plant your peas and put your dice. And on the other side is for solo play, I have to assume, some type of score track. Oh, these are so nice. They're like laminated too. Like that's not just thin, like it's thin, but oh, I really like those. Nice player board. Leafs. First player token. I dig it. The leaves, I can't show you, but you place those on your cards, show things are done. These are extra planting spaces placed for extra dice. Upgrade you can buy. Again, two-sided. This is the board, which does a neat tip thing to get it out. I think we're probably going to have to zoom out. Oh, this is cool. So where Mendel did his study was at the St. Thomas Abbey. So this is actually the back of the board showing off the an awesome painting of the Abbey. And this is going to fit, so I'm going to keep it here. So on this side of the board, this is where you're going to have your dice and you're going to do your pennant squares and you're going to figure out your mutations. There's some worker placement spots. Wherever there's a spade is a worker placement spot. Over here, you're going to do your research and you're going to track the game's 5 rounds. And more worker placement spots. And then you're going to have the nursery where you can buy plants and tools you can purchase. So nice clear board, place to store your money. Just pile it up there, which is kind of a nice touch. They call it the treasury. Very clear, very easy to read. The font's nice and big. Really like it, actually. It's a nice looking board, and I love the art on the back. It's totally unnecessary, but cool. Cardboard trough insert. Okay. A little disappointed, but you know what? Not every game can come with an insert. Extra baggies is always a bonus. Quite a few. Surprising number of extra baggies. So there's at least one for every player. So we're going to just kind of slide this off to the side for now. We'll get back to it to go through this stuff. So, dice. One for each trait. One color for each trait. And there we go. They are numbered in Roman numerals, 1 through 4, but then there's also a gene symbol. There's a whole thing. There's 2 gene symbols on each die. So 1 to 4 and 2 gene symbols. Dice are in blue, yellow, green, and red. Hopefully that's not a problem for people with red-green color blindness. I can't tell those shades myself. I don't have that problem. So lots of dice. They're nice. They're etched, which is awesome. All right, that's not painted on. Etched right into the dice. Nice touch. Nice dice. Love dice. Feel of rolling dice. Not much better than that. Player pieces. Now these do look to be colorblind friendly, which is an interesting choice. That these are those, teal, purple, orange. And then some black trackers for the abacus. So spades are your workers. These are what you're going to place around the board. And they're in the player card. These are very light wood. It's interesting. Then a couple different trackers for points and such. In addition, you have in here, these go on the abacus. And it's for the cost of the upgrades. Every time you buy an upgrade, the price goes up for the players. At the end of the round, they all go down. So those go onto the abacus you saw on the main board. And that's it. These are in the various different player colors. Nice wooden pieces. Very light wood. It's very, it's a lighter wood than most board games use. Toss all these back in the bag. And in the box. Hobbit-sized cards. I always prefer full-size cards, but I understand that it is cheaper to produce games with smaller cards. And in some cases, you would end up needing a way too large a board if you used bigger cards. Now this, when I was saying earlier, the rulebook has nice big text, isn't so great on these cards. So, okay, this is a summary card on Solo Player Setup. Solo Player Setup. It's a little tiny. It's a little hard to read. Some cardinal rules on the back. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of glare. I apologize. I will also note, not the best thing to see, these are a little warped out of the box. Cards they're a little tight in their shrink wrap, and everything's got a slight curve to it. So what we have here, we have tools. And then we should have a whole ton of pea plants. Ton of pea plants. This, I'm not sure. We'll see when we see the other side. And these are assistants you can hire. Yeah, these must be for solar play. I don't recognize these at all. There's some weird arrows. Sorry, can't help you on those cards. These are tools, though. Turn peas into more peas. That's what they all show here. The rake. Change a die to Genos. Immediately complete a part of a plant. And so on. Various tools you can purchase. They all have some nice graphics. I like it. And on the other side, it just shows the wood with a bit of sun coming through. Pea plants. These are how you're going to score. You're going to try to grow a pea with these two traits in this case, which these are both dominant traits. And I'm really hating how much glare we're getting here. There's a better one that we can kind of show off that shows this is a different pea with two different traits for the flower and how tall it is. And so on. The more rare ones are going to require more traits and more recessive traits. So this has wrinkled peas and it's short. It's very short. So these are your goals. You're going to try to fulfill these with dice. So these are all kinds of different pea plants goal cards that you can strive for. Assistants. I got to say, I dig the art here. We have the various assistants. Remember, you are working from an abbey. So we have Sister Elizabeth and what she does, and Sister Anna, and so on. Brother Leopold. And of course, these are all described in the rule book. And I got to say, I do dig the art on these. It's got that same painting style as the back of the board. And then some reference cards. So here we go. Here's all of the cards you get in Genotype. And I am just going to toss all of these into one of these plastic bags so they don't get too messed up. But I'm going to box them so that next time I sit down, they're easy to sort. And reference cards as well. And that's it. We'll pack it up. So the one thing I am going to say, sorry, Genius, for being negative, but why is this box so thick? Like, it's thicker than your standard board game box, but there's no reason for it that I can see here. So that's a little disappointing. There is a rather large amount of air in this box. Perhaps there's expansions. I haven't done the research to know that. But this could have been 1/2 the width and still fit everything easily. So slight disappointment there. Otherwise, I got to say it's gorgeous. I love the look of this. So there you go. What you get inside the box for Genotype, a Mendelian genetics game from Genius Games, educational games that are actually a ton of fun. I haven't actually played this one yet. I am looking forward to it. What I saw in that box looks really good. The graphic style really sticks out to me. I love the look of it. Everything was very clear. Iconography looked excellent. The board was very clear and spaced out. The dice are etched in different colors. I had no complaints whatsoever about how this game looks. It looks striking. I think this is going to be a game that's going to catch people's attention on the table. And then they're going to come over and you're going to say, we're making peas. And they're going to be like, what? So despite the interesting dry theme, I got to say the game looks really good for a game with a game about pea genetics. So we'll see how it plays. Now, when I do play this, I will be talking about it on the Tabletop Bellhop Gaming Podcast, which you can find on your podcatcher of choice. You can also head over to tabletopbellhop.com where you're going to find game night advice as well as reviews. It'd be awesome if you stopped over there. You can also find me on social media where it can be found everywhere as Tabletop Bellhop, one word. Thank you for joining me for this pea-filled unboxing video. That was Genotype from Genius Games.